these, I would say, would be the basic skills of a consultant. Fundamentally, a consultant has always had to be good at Excel, and I think that will still be the case because a lot of consultancy work involves quantitative analysis. So being good at these sophisticated parts of Excel, I think, will always be important. And speaking the language of consultancy is important too. Consultants have to use the buzzwords and the expressions to get their messages across. So acronyms, for example, like SMAC, social media, analytics, and cloud are very common in the telecoms area of consulting. And all the old three-letter acronyms that everybody uses: CRM, ROI, WTF. Well, maybe not that last one. Your consultant's clients will be expecting to hear that sort of language from the consultant. But there's also a cultural aspect, the cultural skill that the consultant needs to have, because no longer is consultancy just carried out in typical Western capitalist economic structures. So there are command economies that use consultancies. There are social enterprises, there are charities, there are NGOs that use consultancies. So a consultant, good skill of a consultant will be to be able to adapt himself or herself to the type of client that he or she is advising. And then there are the traits of a good consultant. I could spend all evening talking about what makes a good consultant, but some of the more important ones are the ability to be able to handle ambiguity, because going into a consultancy project, what the problem might seem from the client's point of view might not actually be the real issue. So a consultant has to be able to cope with that level of ambiguity. And the consultant always has to ask questions. Why does the client want to get to this level of sales, for example, or this level of profit? What is it leading to? So there's an awful lot of questioning and being able to question effectively. That's an important skill for a consultant. Consultants' findings tend to be quite lengthy, so they've got to be concise in the message that they give back to the client. The client doesn't want to sit through a 2-hour lecture on what's going wrong with his supply chain. He wants just a few PowerPoint slides and a concise understanding of what the issue is. A curious one is that consultants also have to be able to handle big egos. And I'm not talking about big egos just at clients, but within consultancy firms themselves, because there are an awful lot of powerful, high-earning people in consultancies, and they have to be handled with care, because you may be a part of a project that will ultimately affect the bonus that somebody higher up the chain is going to get. So you have to be able to handle that type of egotistical behavior if it's on show from time to time in the consultancy. Consultants also have to be very good at diving deep into information and coming up with the salient points. And they have to show, I think, a lot of structured thinking, so that their thoughts and the way they express them are very logical, and the client can understand the pathway through from the problem to the solution. And then I think for longevity in a consultancy firm, you as an individual consultant have to develop some go-to skills. In other words, make yourself known within a consultancy for being good at something, whether that's putting together a PowerPoint presentation or having good counseling skills. All these things and more are really, really important and form part of the armory of the skills of a good consultant. And we might be able to just to take that further and summarize it as always improve yourself, always keep learning within a consultancy, because that's how you will advance. And demonstrate that you can have emotional intelligence and cultural intelligence and empathy, so that you know how to adapt your way of handling people who come from different cultural backgrounds or different countries, that you are sympathetic and empathetic to the organization that you're working for, because profit may not be its prime purpose. And as I mentioned before, make yourself a point, or have for yourself a point of difference in your consulting firm, being known to be really, really good at something in an area.